Hello, I just want to make a little video that I think is quite important that I'd like you to tell other people about, if you don't mind. It's called, it's in reference to an article on the British National Party website called "From a Nice Lamb Chop to a Handful of Worms in 7 Decades, Thanks Lib Lab Con." Now, what it's about is a plan that the BNP have become aware of, the BNP being members of the European Parliament, to get all of Europe eating insects by 2020. This will include your children, who will be raised on it and will never know anything different. Apparently, meat is unsustainable and we can't eat it anymore. But apparently, I think mention was made that Islamics might be made an exception because they have some cultural requirement to eat meat. We haven't. So they're going to get to be made exceptions. Now, you know, these people, these tyrants that we live under, continually keep interfering in other countries and changing regimes to ones they can control. They basically plan to rule the world and will no doubt let Islamics the world over continue to eat lamb and other types of meat, but they plan to feed us on insects. Now, why is this? Personally, I think it may be to force us all to become Islamic. Seriously. Islam has more control over its people than Christianity has, and the government wants control. That's what it's all about, control. Not even money, but control. I think they probably would like the whole world to be Islamic, because that way they could control the whole world more. And they are crazy for control. So it's also somehow or other to force us to globalize. They might try and make us be like the Chinese and the Far East, where people eat insects more readily and always have done. They do, of course, want to globalize, and they may want to tell us that we're no different to anyone else. This may excuse them stopping China, for example, from starting to eat more meat. Well, that's actually very desirable because there are so many people in China, and if the Chinese lived at Western standards, the world basically would be doomed, absolutely doomed in about a decade. But why make an exception for Muslims? Why should they be an exception? The only answer I can think of is because they're shouting the loudest. You know, it's nothing to do with religion or culture, really, because they're no different from anyone else eating meat. So, you know, there's no reason to treat them differently, really. If you look at places like America, indigenous Indians there claim various rights, various cultural rights to eat things that are natural to them, like they still hunt whales to eat them, when no one else is allowed to, or they have a quota of whales anyway every year, which they fulfill. And I think that we should be treated the same way. If anyone is to eat meat here in England, we should be the ones to do it. Let the Islamics eat insects. Oh yeah, apparently it's forbidden for them to eat insects or something. Well, tough, let them go vegan. What about our cultural requirements? This is our homeland. I think we should have the same rights as American Indians have in America. We're the ones who should be considered here because we are indigenous. We need indigenous rights. We're indigenous here. We don't even want them here. Let them go home. They know they're not wanted. Let them go home. to their own countries, back to Arabia, where they came from, or wherever it is they came from. Anyway, the fact remains that whether or not the Islamics are planned to get special treatment, that our tyrants, our dictators, plan to feed us insects from 2020. I think only insects from 2020. Now, I am actually very much in favour of sustainability policies, but I think they should apply to everyone, including the rich, and I mean the super rich. I think the Queen should be eating insects, and only insects, from 2020. I think Prince Charles should eat insects, and only insects, from 2020. I am sick and tired of the rich endlessly finding ways to abuse the poor more and more and more. They seem driven to abuse the poor endlessly, more and more and more, with their economic cycles of boom and bust. Capitalism, the great freedom of capitalism, with its boom and bust cycles that makes the rich endlessly richer and the poor endlessly poorer. We're in the grip of landlords who take every penny we have by threatening to throw us out if we don't give it to them. Wage rises mean nothing to us because every penny we make goes to them. What use is a strike? Why strike? Every penny you make will go to landlords anyway. If you don't pay them, they'll throw you out on the street. Everything rises in price and the poor just continually suffer. People lose their homes. Every time there's a bust, which is every 10 odd years, people lose their jobs. Oh, it goes on and on and on. So I really mean this. If they want the poor to eat insects, I want every single person in society to eat insects or go vegan. I do not want Islamics to eat lamb while I'm eating insects, or while my children or grandchildren eat insects. I do not want to raise my children on insects or vegetables while they eat meat. I don't care if meat is forbidden to them. Let them become vegan. I do not wish them to have any kind of privilege in my homeland. In fact, I would say farmers may as well not even raise lamb here. Why raise lamb when we know who will get to eat it? The Islamics. I would say don't let Prince Charles raise lamb, or even chicken. Let no one raise any animal for food except insects here, and let no one eat anything except insects here if they want us to eat insects. I am not against sustainability, but I am not willing to be prescribed to by people who are not suffering the same conditions that they force upon me, and I am not willing to see anybody privileged for any religious reason. Why should religion be any kind of reason for privilege just because a religion says so? I don't care if Islam says that that Islamics can't eat insects. I don't care about that because I'm not Islamic and I'm not religious. My belief, which is equally strongly held by me and every bit as important to me as a human being, is that I am not prepared, not willing to see Islamics or anyone for any reason at all, including religion, being given any kind of privilege over me. I do not wish to eat insects, and if I do, if I have to, then I want everybody else to be eating them as well. Also, I have had insects as pets, and I can assure you they have feelings. So, there will be many more creatures being raised in fear and slaughtered horribly because of this policy. So although it may be good for the world in some ways, I don't think it's very good in others. And there's another thing as well. I think this may be a control issue for the rich. I bet just as they have stolen all the power in politics and all the control and so on and so on and so on, that this is really just an issue of control. I bet that we will see endless further control. I don't think they'll be satisfied. Ever. I think they are compelled to seek total control over us. Total control. I don't think they will be satisfied until every molecular interaction, every chemical interaction in every cell in everyone's body, in the bodies of all people, under their control. And I'm not kidding. I mean that. They're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. Really, spread this news around. Tell people about it. People need to know. Even if it does work out that for the sake of the planet we end up eating insects, which is apparently what people do in China and Thailand anyway. I want to see Islamics doing it. I don't care a damn about their religion. I couldn't care less if their religion says they can't eat insects. I am not willing to see them given any kind of food privileges over me. I am not willing to see them eat meat when I can't, just because of their religion. Their religion is not my concern. I'm not willing to have any kind of discrimination made against me or on me because of it. I'm not willing to allow any kind of different treatment for Muslims on the grounds of their religion, because I'm not Islamic and I see no reason why I should get different treatment from Islamics just because they're Islamic. I want to see the Queen eating insects. I want to see Prince Charles eating them as his diet. He's not Islamic. I want them to be his diet, his regular day in, day out diet. I want to see the children of the royals growing up on an insect and vegetables only diet. I don't want them to taste meat ever. I don't even want a royal family. But I certainly want to see everyone in this country eating insects only, if that's what I eat. Thank you.